Hi, I'm Matt DeFanis, broker-owner of RE/MAX Realty Associates here in Central Illinois. Today, as we honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I want to take a moment to highlight the intersection of Dr. King's work with my industry, real estate. While most of us know Dr. King for his civil rights activism across the Deep South, he spent an important chapter here in my home state of Illinois. Dr. King and his family moved to the city of Chicago in 1966, grabbing headlines and shining a bright spotlight on the deplorable slum housing conditions in which Black Chicagoans were essentially trapped at the time. On July 10, 1966, more than 30,000 people braved the 98-degree heat wave just to hear Dr. King speak at a rally at Soldier Field. In that rally, he said, "We're here because we're tired of living in rat-infested slums. We're tired of having to pay a median rent of $97 a month in Lawndale for 4 rooms, while whites in South Deering pay $73 a month for 5 rooms. We're tired of being lynched physically in Mississippi, and we're tired of being lynched spiritually and economically in the North." On August 5, 1966, Dr. King led a housing march, during which he was knocked to the ground when a fist-sized rock thrown by a member of a white mob hit Dr. King in the head. It literally brought him to his knees. He later said, "I've been in many demonstrations all across the South, but I can say I have never seen, even in Mississippi and Alabama, mobs as hostile and hate-filled as I'm seeing in Chicago." It's difficult to quantify and monetize the cost of housing discrimination, but a recent research study did just that. The Samuel Dubois Cook Center on Social Equity released a study in 2019. It's called The Plunder of Black Wealth in Chicago. Black Chicagoans were virtually cut off from affordable mainstream home financing that forced them into an unregulated market of contract sales. These exploitative sales accounted for between 75% and 95% of homes sold to black families during the 50s and 60s. Typical price markup as compared to mainstream sales was 84%. In 2019 inflation-adjusted dollars, the average extra monthly payment was $587. The study estimated that in just the city of Chicago, during just the 50s and 60s, between $3.2 and $4 billion was expropriated from the black community. Consider the low-end estimate this way. It would be the equivalent of stealing a $32,000 scholarship fund 100,000 times over from 100,000 different black students. Finally, it's worth noting that the Federal Fair Housing Act, which became the law of the land on April 11, 1968, would not have passed Congress but for the untimely death of Dr. King just a week earlier. The Fair Housing Act was only a start, and there remains much work left to do, but Dr. King posthumously got an incredibly important piece of federal legislation passed that has forever changed the real estate industry. So I hope this gives you a slightly different perspective on and appreciation for the work of Dr. King and why his legacy remains so important today.